Hi everyone, welcome to the Lungnai Show. Today I have one special guest again, and he has been on my show for some time, and he is Dr. J. Deep, and serving as an orthopedic surgeon in the Apollo International in Guwahati, and his specialization is orthopedic spine surgeon. I think this has been his presence and his visitation on the show has been very helpful. I mean, personally for myself, to understand a lot of things about our health, our bones, and our back, spine, and so on. But today we will be talking specifically about bone tuberculosis. Hearing the name itself is kind of scary, but I think we can talk about this. We can learn from him so that we are aware of how to take care of it and how to prevent all of that. And for us, we always think that tuberculosis means just lung and coughing, I think, but bone tuberculosis is something that I really want to understand. So thank you, doctor, for joining in in this topic again.
Yes, thank you again for calling me. So tuberculosis is a disease that has been present in the mankind. If you have the mummies in Egypt,
Right?
they have undergone tests and they have shown that they had tuberculosis.
Whoa!
Even bone tuberculosis.
Thousands of years ago, right?
Thousands of years, 5,000, 6,000 years ago. Wow. So tuberculosis has been something that has ravaged the mankind for long.
Has it not been eradicated yet?
No, there are certain things that cannot be eradicated.
Okay.
Because this is so widespread in the nature, so you cannot eradicate it.
Okay.
Tuberculosis was kind of very bad during the 19th century. This early industrialization, those things, the people were coming together in cities, and there was lack of hygiene and lack of exposure to fresh air, and they were having a lot of tuberculosis. Now people know that tuberculosis is something that mainly affects the lungs. They start coughing blood, they might have fever, and this is the thing. But you must remember that tuberculosis, that's the main thing, the tuberculosis of the lungs. But tuberculosis can involve any joint or any organ of the body, excepting your nails and your hairs.
That's what I was told. Correct.
So all the tissue, your eyes could have tuberculosis, your inner of your ears could have tuberculosis, you could have tuberculosis in the mouth, you could have tuberculosis in the spine. That's a very vast topic, tuberculosis of the spine. You could have tuberculosis of any of your bones of your body. We have seen tuberculosis in the heel, the heel bone, that is the calcaneum, to tuberculosis in the topmost bone of the spine. There's the atlas.
Correct. Wow, that's
so its length and breadth is very wide.
Right.
So this is a topic I would like to discuss. Means if somebody comes across bone tuberculosis, they are kind of alarmed. They've seen that tuberculosis affects only lungs. How come bones can get affected?
Right. Because anything that has to do with bones seems to be more scarier. Because it's just like deep inside. You can't really, I don't know, that's just how we normally feel.
So there are two differences of how infection of the lungs in tuberculosis takes place and how this infection in the bones takes place. So generally in lungs you could have it from someone else.
Correct.
Someone is coughing tuberculosis, that bacteria might come through here and enter your lungs, and you can have tuberculosis. But bone tuberculosis is not transmitted that way.
I see.
So what happens that when a child is born, he or she is not exposed to tuberculosis, but tuberculosis is so common in our India particularly. So they have a small TB infection early in their life, might be 5-6 months of age, or even say 2-3 years of age. So now what happens that now this tuberculosis might have come to the lungs. Now from the lungs it goes to all the parts of the body, and the tuberculosis bacteria is somewhere there, everywhere, in you, in me, or everyone. Right. Now what happens is that if your immunity goes down for some reason, like you have diabetes, you are not taking food properly, this starts recurring. That hidden focus starts reforming. So they start reforming. This is the most common way. There can be other ways also.
Correct.
But direct contact is also there. Sometimes if you have like surgical instruments that are not properly sterilized, and they are used to do your abdominal surgery, now you start having tuberculosis of the abdomen.
I understand when we have like lung TB, tuberculosis, you can you can test the diagnosis with your sputum. Under what do we call?
Yes, this sputum.
Sputum we call it, right? Yeah. So, take it. That's understandable. But when it comes to the bones and brains, how do you ascertain that this is tuberculosis?
See, one of the things is to get a biopsy. If you say tuberculosis of any part and it is accessible from outside with a needle or something, and the expertise and technology is there, the hospital is there, they can do a biopsy. Particularly the modern molecular diagnosis that is known as polymerase chain reaction, so that they can easily detect tuberculosis.
Okay.
Say in places like in brain, it's not possible to go open and cut the tissue of brain and see or put a needle inside the brain in all the parts. So there we use our MRI, CT scan, and there are certain things there that gives us an idea this is tuberculosis. And along with the blood test that we do, that's high ESR, high CRP, those things give us an idea that this is tuberculosis. Sometimes, see, in tuberculosis, particularly the bones, exact diagnosis might not be possible, so your doctor might give a trial treatment of anti-tubercular medicines.
Wow.
So this trial treatment of anti-tubercular medicine, if it works, that means it's a tuberculosis. But sometimes if it's not that, then there's a problem.
Right. Because tuberculosis medicines is like sometimes people have to take for 2 years, 3 years, 6 months.
6 months for lungs TB and almost 1.5 to 2 years for TB of the bones. Now the problem with TB medicine is there are a lot of numbers, 4 or 5 medicines to be taken all at a time, and so the cost is an important factor. Government provides a lot of this medicine free, so that's a good thing for the government.
Right.
As the central government, the state governments, everywhere do it. But another thing is the reaction to TB medicines. They can affect your lungs, affect your liver, they can affect your eyes, they can affect your kidneys, they can affect your skin. So those are reactions, particularly the liver is very common. So taking TB medicines, one should be very certain that he or she has a tuberculosis, then take these medicines.
That's the point. I know someone who has been taking TB medicine because during COVID time there was no other way to get it tested. That person just tested by using something like a Mentox test, right? Just that's it. And they ascertained that this is TB, but later realized that it's not TB, it's just gastritis. Sometimes that can be very scary because
that can be very scary. See, modern technology helps us, like PET-CT,
right,
or those things, biopsy. But sometimes we do 100 tests, we still cannot say that it's TB or not TB, particularly in the spine. So that sometimes we have to take a call that let us give some medicines. But it's done very diligently.
Correct.
Sometimes the patients are so very poor that they cannot undergo all the tests. Because these are costly tests, and sometimes it's almost, it seems like a TB. It's speaking like a TB. Then to avoid medicines for them would be not that great.
So what are commonly the major symptoms of bone tuberculosis?
See, first of all, you will have symptoms of tuberculosis and symptoms of involvement of tuberculosis, particular bone involved or organ involved. So first is symptom of tuberculosis. Now first is you will find is loss of weight, loss of appetite. It's very important.
Even with the bone tuberculosis?
Any tuberculosis, generally. So loss of appetite and loss of this weight is due to there's certain chemicals. This is known as tumor necrosis factor, TNF, that is produced by these cells, infected cells, and they cause lack of appetite. So they will make you lose weight. Your pant sizes means your pant will become loose, your shirts will become loose, that thing. Another thing is that you could have fever at night, particularly at night, say 2 or 3 a.m., you could have some shivering, some fever, and that you have that way, and it occurs 2 or 3 times a week. That now, why does it occur that way? It's because our body has a biological clock. It's a clock-based rhythm. And there is a particular chemical known as IL-6. interleukin 6, that is produced, and that is produced at around 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay.
And that what happens is that increases the immune system activity.
Oh.
When the immune system activity, you will have, say, at around 2 p.m., you'll start having more of immune activity,
So-
and one of the side effects of that immune activity, you might have fever.
I see.
So this is one of the causes.
Okay.
Then other thing would be that you could have some rashes, some other, some gastritis, etc. This could be very vague symptoms could be there. So these are the symptoms of tuberculosis. Now, symptom of the joint tuberculosis. Say if you have TB of the spine, you will have severe unrelenting back pain. You cannot sit or see. If you are going by a bus and sudden jolt, you have very severe pain.
Yeah.
Then say if you have a TB of the say hip joint, you cannot move your hip joint. It will be very painful. You have to stand. You have to wait for some time to get the joint adjusted. Then take short steps for a few steps only, and then afterwards the pain will come back. So these are the things you could have. Sometimes if you have say somewhere, so like the leg, etc., you will have multiple sinuses, means pus pouring out with small holes.
Okay.
And those holes will be, they have a typical characteristic. And the pus will be like watery.
Okay.
It won't be like the usual pus you have with the thick pus. And you'll find that the wound doesn't get healed. Even it's been 1 month or so, it doesn't get healed. Those are the symptoms you get. And pain, and then swelling, and this ulcers, and this sinuses where there's pus pouring. The pus is very liquidy kind of pus.
Right.
So those are things you will get. If you have, say, TB in the spine, if it's in a particular position where the nerves are affected, now you'll have weakness of your lower limbs or even paralysis, complete paralysis.
Wow.
So TB spine is a very big chapter in itself.
Yeah, I think it is very big, and every part of your body, although it's a DP common disease, but every part of your body will be dealt with differently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the worst that can happen if your bone tuberculosis does not go, it goes untreated?
So what happens is that tuberculosis, if it gets untreated and if your immunity is less, particularly it happens those who have infection with this HIV infection or other immunocompromised, they have very widespread tuberculosis of all the organs in the brain, etc. And if untreated, they can even lead to death. So that is a problem. So one should not ignore this problem. One should take it and treat it.
Yeah, in the case of bone tuberculosis, you don't need to do surgery, right? It's the medication is done internally.
No, see, surgery, there is a role in surgery in tuberculosis of the bones and medicines. So see, the primary treatment is medicine. You do surgery or do not do surgery, your TB will be healed with medicines. So you should remember the medicines are common for every type of treatment.
Okay.
Now, related to surgery, why we do surgery? Say we do surgery, say it's a tuberculosis of the finger or something. It's so accessible. It's out there. And we can just open it, clear it, take a tissue, and the healing gets better. It gets much more improved. Sometimes we have TB of the spine. The body is crushed. This pus is pressing on the nerves. The patient has become paralyzed or nearly paralyzed. Those are things, yes, we do surgery, we open it up, we put screws, we fix the thing, we remove the bad tissue, we wash, give a thorough wash, make it clean. And what happens with that is that now, since the bad material are less, bad tissue is less, that treatment works better, because now you don't have a lot of bad tissues to kind of control. Then you have something like you are paralyzed, now you are okay.
Yeah.
So that gives much more better healing. But it varies from case to case. Not all TB spine needs surgery. Some TB spine, because they are very less, and we detect it very early now. See, MRI, I think we are detecting TB by 6-7 months or 1 year earlier.
Oh.
So when they, I will give an example. There was a young boy from Jorhat, 17 years old, and he had at a particular spine, there's a spine joints, multiple joints. Particular joint he had pain. An MRI was earlier done and brought to me. But the type of involvement of that joint made me click and think that there is something else. We did a blood test and we found that it was something that was akin to TB because the ESR was high, the CRP was high. Now, the problem is getting a biopsy from the joint is difficult because if you get a biopsy from the joint, the joints get destroyed. So it causes permanent. It's a young patient. It causes permanent damage to that joint.
Right.
So what we could do, we did a PET CT scan.
What is that?
PET CT is a special type of nuclear scan nowadays. So they put dye, chemical.
Yeah.
It is a radioactive dye. And wherever there is TB or some other tumors, it is picked up.
Okay.
The dye is concentrated there, and there are special cameras, detectors that detect that dye there. And from there we know that, okay, this joint is involved. We have a rough idea that it could be TB. From there we could know that it's a TB. We started medicines. So he took medicine for 1.5 years, and then in between taking medicines, he had problem with kind of liver problem, that problem, allergic problem
Because
to the
of
drugs
medications.
because of the medicine. But still, he took it and he's successful. He joined, became reformed. One thing with TB, which is why we don't know, is once it is healed, it goes almost to near normal what that was earlier. That's one great thing of TB. And there is a great teacher of ours in orthopedics and spine. They say that you can have any disease, but if it's tuberculosis, it's treatable and you can get back to normal.
Just like complete reset of your body.
Complete reset of that part of the body. Once it gets healed, it's almost like the bones get reformed.
Wow.
In other diseases, we don't see. The bones get reformed, the disc reforms, everything reforms if treated properly.
Wow.
So if somebody says that you have cancer, you have TB is much more better than cancer. But see, this is a disease that has to be taken very seriously.
Absolutely.
It cannot be taken very lightly. Now I would like to talk about multi-drug resistant TB. So I talked about TB in immunocompromised, like HIV patients, diabetic patients, those who are taking cancer drugs, they're immunocompromised, they can have TB. Another form of TB is multi-drug resistant TB. Now that's a big problem nowadays. So in corona, you could know that initially the virus was something, later on it started turning, there's different strains. Even recently there's a different strain.
Variant, right?
Variant. So that TB bacteria also tries to reform itself. And how it reforms, it tries to increase the survivability by making it resistant to most of the drugs.
Right.
Now, problem with drugs, if we don't have the drugs we commonly use, it cannot be used to treat that TB. That means there are second line of drugs. These are rare and very costly. Something like bedaquiline or something means you can say a 6 months course can go up to 5 to 6 lakhs rupees. So that is very prohibitive, and the patient might have to take medicines like 3 years, 4 years, like you mentioned. It's so long. So this is it, and what we say is that the main cause of this multi-drug resistant TB is not taking TB medicines adequately. So if you have TB medicine, you have stopped it in between. Now the TB germs are not dead. Now they try to reform and become more resistant.
True.
Another thing is that if you have such resistant patient and if you are working in some hospital, etc., that contact now might be from a bone TB, it was multi-drug resistant. Now that fumes or kind of that thing, aerosol, will come and you inhale it, you will now have multi-drug resistant TB of the lungs.
Wow.
Other thing is very important. People ask me, is bone TB kind of spreads within the family? Because they say, do I have to provide separate utensils for our patient, etc. See, most TB, after taking 3 days of medicines, they become so harmless that they cannot infect usually.
After 3-4 days.
3-4 days.
Oh, that's quick.
That's very quick, almost 72 hours. So with 72 hours of medicine, you can become, the bacteria becomes so less that it is not usually by sharing cups or glasses, etc.
Okay.
And if there is a TB in a close place, like your abdomen or in the spine, where it's not exposed to externally, that TB doesn't get to other person.
Okay.
It's the TB of the lungs that can be transferred to other person, but TB, in the close TB of the bones, of the spine,
The
of the brain, etc., doesn't get transferred.
Makes sense.
Okay, so one should be very good. So what they do is they put the person in a different room, try to shun him, don't go near to him. These are the things that don't share food with him, etc. These are the things.
Stigma, right?
That stigma comes in. So I like to say with this talk show is that TB in a close space generally doesn't spread.
Okay.
So if you have TB in your family, nothing to be scared of. Or if it is in the close space, and if it's a lungs TB also, he or she has taken adequate medicines properly, so it is not infective per se. One thing I would like to say, that treatment of TB is also mainly immunological. It's a problem of immunity. Your immunity is down, so now you are having TB. So those who work in hospitals, the nursing staff, etc., they are more prone to have TB. They should not skip on meals, skip on sleep.
Very important.
If you lose your sleep, your immunity goes down.
Yeah, correct.
If you kind of not take your food in time, say you might not take the food at that time, and later on you might take double the food. It is not good.
Correct.
You should have the small meals at the proper time, proper rest, nutrition. So if we see that traditional treatment of TB, like it was years back, even see the medicines are there for the last, say, 60, 70 years, streptomycin, etc., 80 years. Before that, TB was treated mainly by rest. We had TB sanatoriums. There was a TB sanatorium in Shillong.
Okay.
So people would go there, would stay there in separate cottages, would soak up the sun, take good food, or they would be sent somewhere near your seashore, like this Puri, etc. in Orissa. There they would stay in special communes, take good food, and that would be the treatment TB. So you should not forget that part, that other than medicines also you have to increase your immunity, taking good food, nutritious food, taking proper rest. That's the way. And one of the ways of checking that you are better, you are being treated adequately with TB is weight gain. Like weight gain initially gives us the idea of a tuberculosis. Weight loss gives an idea of tuberculosis. Weight gain also gives us an idea the patient is now recovering from tuberculosis.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think this creates a lot of awareness for us. So TB is a germ at the end of the day, right? So that germ needs to be. I mean, is it true that everyone has TB at least?
It's a kind of it's widespread in the body.
Right.
It's sitting there in your knee joint. It might be there.
Yeah.
Because in India it's so widespread. It's where
Okay.
if your immunity goes down, now you'll start having tuberculosis.
Okay. So it's present in everybody's body, right?
Everybody's body, at least in our country.
Oh, okay. So you need to just keep your immune system at intact.
This
That's wonderful.
is different from the TB of the lungs.
Yeah.
And TB of the lungs you can get from other person.
Correct.
TB of the bones. Another thing is cause of TB is drinking raw milk. Raw milk might contain the TB bacteria, and that might go. The other TB, these are known as this atypical tuberculosis. But we found in, say, if like you have injured your hand or foot in the soil, you could have those, or you have injured with a fish in your aquarium. You have different type of TB. There are TB also. These are atypical tuberculosis, but they are there. And another problem specter of TB has increased because of HIV. HIV reduces the immunity. You have more TB, and TB is something that causes more multi-drug resistance, more widespread TB. So,
well, doctor, this has been very enlightening, and I thank you for enlightening our people through this podcast and your vast knowledge that you have. I'm sure people will get benefited. Doesn't matter, it may be hundreds or few thousands. Whoever watches this will be really benefited. Thank you so much for.
Thank you for calling me
Yeah.
again. This is the end of our series.
Yeah. So, all the very best and stay healthy. We need
Okay.
more people like you, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.